So I'm with my boy Evan. Evan, run us through it, lad. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people watching, who you are, and a bit about your story, man?
Mhm. My name's Evan. I'm 21. Well, just turned 21 there actually, from Belfast. And yeah,
Happy
I'm a
birthday,
closer.
lad.
Uh,
Happy birthday.
well, thank you, lad. You're a bit late to it. It was over the weekend there, but yeah, I'm a closer. 21 from Belfast. Was in uni. Was working in Tesco there last about 5, 6 months ago. So yeah, all in with the closing over the last 5, 6 months. Basically moved to Marbella there in January and back home for a bit, back home for my birthday, get back out to Marbella next week. And then
Oh, man.
6 months there getting sorted out.
So you're in Belfast at the minute, lad. What do you want to go to Marbella for, bro? What's wrong with Belfast, lad? Not go out to Thompson's, not go to the Kremlin, lad.
That's if I get allowed back in them places. It's the way things are.
So talk me through it, bro. Like, obviously, you were in Tesco's before. Now you're closing. Your story's a bit of a unique one, like because for you, bro, like
Uh-huh,
you were already trying to get into the space before getting in
uh-huh,
touch with me when you're in Tesco, right?
mhm,
But talk me through that.
mhm.
Like, what was it that made you want to get into closing into the online space in general, lad?
Just was basically in uni, was in Tesco, left school, what, 2, 3 years ago, was working like 3, 4 jobs at one point. Realized, basically just panicked and went to uni. Um, did a degree in real, was doing a degree in real estate. Wasn't bad or anything, didn't hate anything, just knew it was not going to give me what I wanted. Seen lads like yourself making money online, you know, new
Yeah.
sales was definitely something that I could do well in if I got that help. And I'd been trying for a long time before basically reached out to you to actually get in. I've been on a few different offers, but as you know, your offer can limit you a lot in this space.
Mm.
So over the summer was on like various SDR offers, still working at Tesco and was getting nowhere with them, basically making no dough, was just really grafting to try and get out of Tesco and go endless and get that good offer that I knew if I got the help, got the training from yourself, got put in touch with a good offer that I could close on.
Yeah, 100%, lad. Because one thing you touched on there, obviously you got pushed into uni, right?
Hmm.
Like for you, was it more just like, you know what, I'm going to go into uni because I don't really know what the fuck else to do? Like, what kind of what happens to a lot of young lads?
Basically, that was it. Just I took a year out, thought I was going to get everything sorted then. Tried every business model you could think of, the drop shipping, tried SMA, tried car valet, everything, but I just didn't,
What
you
was that
know,
last one?
the car valet and tried to have my own car valet business, which was all right, like, but it was never going to get me where I wanted to go, get me where I am now. And basically, I just didn't have the skills to run a business. And I realized like sales, I heard it, you hear all the people online, all successful entrepreneurs saying you learn sales, you learn how to run a business, and it can really set you up for life, not only with the clothing, but also what can come after that.
Yeah, because obviously for you, lad, you keep talking about how it wasn't going to get you to where you want to go. Like, why
Mhm.
the online space in general, though, lad? Like, what was kind of pushing you towards that? Was it just seeing all these people on social media and kind of like the lives they had, or like what was it you envisioned for yourself back then when you were in uni trying to get up and going?
The freedom and the money you can make, freedom and the money you can make, and it's obviously people talk about the money and all. I'm pushing them, trying to hit that 10K a month, everything. But it's what that money brings. Like if I had a graduate at uni, I went through. Realistically, I would have been on what like 24 grands, basically first year, maybe pushing over the next couple of years up towards 30, whatever. I just knew job I didn't want to do. I knew money I didn't want to make. And I knew getting into this, seeing lads like yourself, I could get in, make good money, travel the world,
Yeah.
clothes, financial freedom, location freedom. And yeah, basically just being able to get back my family, all those sorts of things and actually live a life that I wanted to live. That was the big attraction to it for me.
You see, obviously, lad, you came into Trinity, right? Because I
Mhm,
still remember even the call we had, lad, when you were friggin' it was like real late at night. We were going over
mhm,
like where you wanted to be and everything. I think it was like 1 a.m. in the morning we ended up finishing that call, right?
mhm.
Now that you came into Trinity, um, talk me through the process there for you because you're struggling to find a good role, right? You wanted
Mhm.
more training. So talk us through that process then coming in here.
So basically, had to realize that if I continued doing what I was doing on my own and just kind of floating between those offers that I was on, just not very good offers, the thing that was holding me back was my skill set. And you have to know people, you have to have that good network that I got with Trinity in terms of A, getting the skill set to actually excel on a good offer, and then also getting put in touch with getting put onto a good offer. And that's exactly what I needed. Realized that, dropped the ego almost, and reached out to yourself and got that help. You're saying we're on to 1 a.m., just going through everything that's maybe been holding me back and
Yeah.
kind of letting go of those limiting beliefs. And like I said, dropping the ego and getting the help I needed in terms of the training, getting up to a serious level of closing where whenever I went into the offer that I was put on through Trinity, I was able to actually excel and leave Tesco, drop out of uni, go all in with this.
So talk me through that process and lad, from you join Trinity, how long it take you to get it
Mhm,
put on the offer? And then how
mhm.
long it take for you on that offer to then be in a position where you could fuck off Tesco's basically?
So I think it was basically a month exactly. So it was. I came in, just really applied myself, showed up to coaching sessions, role plays, feedback,
Yeah.
constantly just improving that. And whenever I had improved that, it was like, right, okay, conversation with yourself, understanding, yeah, I'm ready to go and actually excel and offer now. Obviously, you just put me in touch with the offer I'm on now, have been for the last 5, 6 months, and just haven't looked back to be honest. But yeah, basically just going through the process of getting that help. You've been there, you've closed on offers before. You've been closing for 3 years, learning a lot from you, learning from mistakes, just constantly improving, showing up every day, and then yeah, like I say, eventually going into that offer and still showing up for the session, still getting the training and improving every day, making more every day, making more every month, and just yeah, pushing off.
Well, talk us through that journey, bro, right? You've been doing it now 6, 7 months, you're saying. Obviously
Hmm.
trying to learn, get better, everything in
Hmm.
between. Talk us through that journey, bro, because right now you're
Hmm.
back in Belfast. You just turned 21.
Hmm.
What's been going on? Because I know you're saying before, right? Before this conversation, you're trying to get a place in Marbella. You just came back from Marbella, lad. What's life been like then
Hmm.
over the last 6, 7 months?
Really good to be honest. Just keeps getting better and better. I can't lie. It was like a case of first month went in as an SDR, so basically setting appointments over the phone.
Yeah.
Um, made in my first 2 weeks not offer, I made 1,200 quid, which is literally more than what I would have made in a month at Tesco. And I was like, right, that's it. Left Tesco, went all in, and basically proved myself as an SDR. Got moved up to a closer. My first within those 2 or 3 weeks. First month as a closer, made 4 grand. So literally 4 times what I was making at Tesco, more than I was ever gonna touch for years after uni. Next month after that was like 5 grand. Then into the new year, I've basically been about 7.5, 8 grand January, 8.5, pushing towards 9 in February, and this month's even more still.
See, obviously, lad, this seems to be this constant gradual let's say getting better each month, right? Obviously income's going up. Sure, bro, like making that money, it's fucking great, right? We can like
Mhm.
sure it is, right? But talk me through the process though of actually do you see earning that money? Because you talked about, lad, when you were in uni, you were seeing guys online who had the freedom, who were traveling, who were in a position like I was, right? Now that you're in that position yourself, how does that feel?
It's genuinely just hard to even put into words. It's a case of I knew all I had to do was put the work in.
Mm.
I truly believe the only thing holding me back was that I didn't have the help, I didn't have the network, and I didn't have the skill set. I knew when I got those things, I could do it. But it is surreal. It is surreal looking back, realizing I was in uni, I was literally in Tesco trying to make ends meet, just making enough to pay for car insurance, just making enough to be able to basically live. And now have basically financial freedom, location freedom. I can go anywhere in the world, it's a surreal feeling like compared to where it was literally only 5 months ago.
You see, bro, now that you're in this position, right? You see, when you think back to maybe a year ago when you were in uni and you still had the thoughts of, I want to achieve all those things, like, was there anybody around you who you knew who had done it?
No, that was the thing. That was part of the reason. There was no one. And obviously I
So,
had
if there
pra
was no one, though, lad, how did you believe it would be possible for you then?
just seeing lads like yourself, seeing the results. Did you know you'd done watching your content for a while, seeing all that, and it was a case of yeah, just knew that that was the missing piece. The other people around me, the network, the community, and if I got that, then getting the skill set in place and actually getting put in touch with the people I need to be put in touch with.
Yeah. You see, like, with that now, right? Because it's very easy for a lot of people to fall into this analysis paralysis or this mindset of I'm not fit to achieve that because I've never, no one around me does it. And it's kind of like you always fall into the almost the standard you're surrounded by. If you're constantly surrounded by people that are just going to work all the time, that are just getting by, that becomes your normal. When you're surrounded in an environment with guys that are doing really, really well, that are full-time closers, that are pushing themselves,
Mhm.
what naturally happens is then you adapt into that environment, which is, somewhat similar to what you're saying right now. In terms of everything that you've achieved, where you're at now, what would you say, like, has been the best moment for you with everything? Obviously, you're going traveling pro, you're Marbella, you're, obviously going from 20 years of age living with your parents. You now have all this freedom. But besides, like, obviously, the making 9K a month, having all the freedom, right? Is there anything right now that maybe you're most proud of?
Probably just how I separated myself from, I'd say, my peers, other people our age, where we're from, by taking that action and actually getting out of my own way and not just talking about these things I want to achieve and not just waiting for a miracle to happen just because I feel like, oh, I can do better or I want to be better. Just actually take that action, I would say.
Mm. Well, if you were to, let's say, there was someone who was maybe on the cusp who was in a similar situation to you, bro, like what advice would you have for them in terms of this
Mhm,
journey and in terms of maybe trying to overcome limiting beliefs, do you think?
mhm, mhm. I think it was for me basically realizing everything's your fault. Everything I'd done that led me to that point where I was basically unsatisfied. I was going to end up graduating doing something I didn't want to do in Tesco for what, another 3, 4 years. And you realize everything you've done to get to that point hasn't worked. And if you continue doing that, it's as simple as nothing will change unless you do. So you need to look at what has actually been holding you back. Like I say, for me, it was my skill set, it was the network and the community realizing that is what I needed. And no one's going to do it for you. If you don't actually go out, seek that help from people like yourself, people who've been there and done that, it won't just fall into your lap. You actually have to basically have a set of balls and, just jump into it because the only way to learn is be surrounded by people who are in that position you want to be. Like if you just keep listening to people that aren't in that position you want to be and keep doing the things you've always done, you'll just end up where you've always been.